Welcome to another edition of the Mexican Soccer Show. We like to call this Monday Night Football. Get your drinks ready. For those of you who like to just watch us and take a sip of your tea, your coffee, your Coca-Cola, your beer, maybe a shot. I don't know. Give you some time. We're going to start in a few. Saying hello to everybody already in this great Monday after a great friendly for Mexico. We'll go ahead and get started. My name is Weezer from Food Mex Nation. This is an hour-long podcast dedicated to all things Mexican football. And today we'll be chatting all about the Mexican national team. No Liga MX. No Mexicans abroad. Just all El Tri. I mean, we might not even have CTR podcast because we're going to be doing so well. I'm just kidding, Cesar. You still have one. We'll continue to have that. CTR, Patreon. If you're not part of it, it's a quick plug right here. But let's go ahead and get started. And we'll start with a question. Our producer, Mr. Jason Marquez, Soccer Mexicana, had us answer. If you're setting the starting 11 for the Croatia match, who are your first three names on the team sheet? First three people you want. So think about it like that. Not who, it's like the first three that come in your mind. And let's go to Mr. Cesar Hernandez in the San Diego Xolos area. I was going to say
San Diego Xolos area.
San Diego Xolos area. San Diego Tijuana area. Covering Xolos. Was at the Xolos America match, which
I was going to say, I was at that friendly over the weekend. It was in San Diego, so you would think that Tijuana they'd be the home team, but 80% of the fans were for America. So San Diego America region, that's what it feels like.
Every time. Nice. All right, so who are your first three?
Oh yeah, I guess that's what you want me to talk about. I would say just because of the performance in the second half and because they're game changers, easily Lozano and Vela would be there for me. I want to see what they could do. I think that they could be pretty crucial in the attack there. And then I want to see Edson Alvarez, just because I was a little bummed out by the defense recently. And I think that I'd be interested to see if he can really support that back line, just because I felt like I'm still really worried about that defense. So I think, once again, Lozano and Vela, and then Edson Alvarez.
All right. And joining us all the way from Chicago, you know him as the Colorful Kit, Mr. Raul Barraza, joining us today on the Mexican Soccer Show. Raul, how are you? And also, tell us about the three names you're going to have against Croatia for sure.
All right, I'm going to cheat a little bit here. I'm scared of Mexico's defense. So if I'm Osorio, I play the first three names off my list are the three guys I have starting. I got the two center backs and Ochoa. I guess Ochoa is the number one keeper. So I would try to play the two center backs, whoever he wants to play, whoever his first decision is, like his first choice, and get them as much reps as possible because that back line is scary.
Back line is scary.
So Alanis Reyes is what you're saying.
Oh no, Reyes is a defensive mid, bro. You didn't know?
In Osorio's eyes. All right, so we asked a question on Twitter. Let's see. Going through responses. Bofo, Neri, and Franco from our friend Joel. Jogo, a T-shirt tech, friend of the show all the time. In fact, we've been DMing back and forth about Russia plans. Jesus Wenceslao, JC Hawkins wrote Guardado, Vela, and Lozano. Our friend Marta Arellano always watches the show, supporter. Lozano, Chicharito, and Vela. Carlos Fugazi, at Carlos Fugazi, Chicharo, Reyes, and Moreno. La columna espinal tiene que agarrar kilómetros, he says. Brian, Pizarro, Edson, and Gobea. Antonio, Vela, Lozano, and Edson as CDM. Vela, Chucky, and Moreno. A lot of people are saying Vela, so kind of siding with Cesar there.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
To Blanco, Ramon Ramirez, and Jorge Campos. I mean, just after that first one that we had. I think I'd be interested. I think I'm interested to see what would happen there.
Salcido in 2005, Neri in 2007, Borghetti 2005. We can go what year they played. I was watching that. The Confederations Cup, Argentina, Mexico. I don't know. I recorded it a long time ago, and I just decided to watch guys kill some time on the airplane. And I was like, man, I hope we win. I'm sitting there, so I see those scores. They go to penalty kicks, and I'm like, oh, and then I see that I forgot that Osorio missed that penalty kick. And then about 2010, I'm like, Osorio gave that ball away to Messi. I'm like, geez, there's anybody that's really screwed us. It's Ricardo Osorio. Okay, I'm sorry.
Is that the game we're going to be analyzing today?
Yeah,
I don't know
I'm sorry.
if that's...
we have Miss Adriana Terrazas going to be joining us. I think she sent us a what's up. She said running 5 minutes late, but we'll be home in a second logging on. So hopefully she can join us and we'll hold her to what 3 players she has. But we'll be talking all about, like I said, Mexico, Iceland in Santa Clara, a game where everyone was wanting to see a response from Mexico, right? The last time they were there, it was La Boda Roja, the Red Wedding against Chile's massacre 7-0. How did the players going to react? How did Osorio is going to react after all the pre-plan that he did afterwards? I think he was all over the world talking to Bielsa, psychologically making sure he's making the right movements. His rotaciones are there. So let's just stop. All right. It wasn't a 7-0. They came back. The score is 3-0. So I want to hear your thoughts. Not necessarily analyzing too much of it, but overall, your reactions from that 3-0 win. And we'll start with Mr. Raul.
And it was just a typical, it reminded me like a CONCACAF game where Mexico was bunkered down. They kept passing it sideways, and then that score, and then Mexico scored, and then the game opened up.
Are we trying to? I keep hearing like, and then this you're not the first person who said it. It reminds me of CONCACAF game. Maybe CONCACAF is like the rest of the world. Like, maybe the Spain's and Germany's and Argentina's and maybe the top 10. But after all, they're all CONCACAF-ish against Mexico.
I mean, let's just say this way: there's like the crappy teams. There's everyone else. And then there's like the top 8 teams. So it's like when you play everyone else, people kind of bunker down against Mexico. I mean,
I didn't expect Iceland to bunker down against Mexico. I was expecting a lot more from them, but I mean, I guess we're already talking about it, but it did kind of feel like a match during the Hex where they were kind of like sitting back. And I would even say that, like, I mean, I don't really pay that close attention to the Icelandic national team, but I was even a little surprised in the second half where I felt like they got a little like physical. I felt like they realized like, okay, if we're gonna get a result here, I think if we want to mess with them a little bit, that we're gonna get a little bit more physical, a little aggressive, which is something I didn't really anticipate from them. But obviously Mexico was able to get those 3 goals, and obviously, I mean that third one from Layun, I mean that just kind of solidified it right there. I still don't think it was on purpose. I still think that was just a terrible cross. But just. I still do worry though about the team defensively. I thought I was okay with the midfield and attack kind of looking a little off, just because that wasn't exactly what you would say would be the starting options for Mexico. But defense, I mean, you look at it, it's Moreno, Araujo, and Salcedo. In theory, those are probably the starting defenders for Mexico, and they just didn't really convince me that much. So I think that, not to get negative, but I think that's something that was kind of stands out for me.
So, I mean, it goes down. I had so many notes. Obviously, I was there at the game and was, really, really high. I mean, they have the press like all the way up to the top, so I had to lean in to see. I couldn't see what players it was, but I rewatched the game just to kind of see on how we were playing, and I kind of agree with you, Cesar. Iceland kind of surprised me because I said before the match, I said, I really hope they come out strong. I really hope we struggle against this team. I wanted the winners of their group in the Euro during the qualifiers. I wanted, I think, what was it, semifinalist in the Euro. I wanted that team. Obviously, they were missing the Everton guy, something son, because I tried to remember his name and I just couldn't.
Sigurdsson.
What is it?
Guilford Sigurdsson.
I don't know.
18 S's in his name.
I don't know. We're just
gonna butcher it.
We're gonna butcher it anyway. And I kind of saw him come out the first 27 minutes. Iceland, I mean, Mexico really didn't have any shots except for Fabian on the 16th minute, and Iceland playing the same scrappy. Tom Marshall kind of told us they're going to come in and scrappy. They're going to try to counter. They're not a team that's very they're very disciplined, but at the same time, they can handle the ball and they can surprise you with a counter. The good thing is that you can't do that for 90 minutes in a match. And I think that's where they died down and we saw them bunker down a little bit more. I want to say hi to Miss Adriana Terrazas, who is now joining us there in Mexico City, right, Adriana? Sí, ¿verdad? Or Guadalajara?
Mexico City.
Wait, I think, let me see if I can hear you.
Yeah, I can't hear you, Adriana.
Can you guys hear me there?
A little bit.
Yeah, it's very quiet.
Very, very quiet.
It's very quiet.
Super quiet.
Try to fix that. Hold on a second.
All right.
Hold on a sec.
All right. Well, we'll keep going, and we'll go back to you. But, I thought it was going to be a tie. I thought it was going to be a 1-1, and then we saw the one goal, and then obviously, you know, the last two goals.
I think the thing that's kind of interesting that stands out to me, I know we have it right here on the schedule, the rundown, how well did the starting 11 work? I think I'm looking back at my notes, I mean, other than Choi Corona and net, and other than maybe Layun, because, I mean, it was just because those 2 goals he got. I mean, in general, I thought actually Layun kind of had an average performance. It sounds strange to say. I know he got those golazos. But other than that, I thought he was kind of, I don't know, a little lost in the midfield. But other than Layun, other than Choi, and maybe Fabian, I wasn't really impressed by the rest of the starting 11. I know the scoreline says something entirely different, but I think it was just the subs that really, I don't know, just really changed this game.
Well, I think we go back, right? Sometimes we don't get the score. It's a 0-0. It's a 1-0 with Mexico with, 15 tries, and they don't put it in the net. And then we come back and we get 3-0, and the first thing we hear, well, it's a fake score. It shouldn't have been 3-0. And I think we just got to relax. They got the win, and they got 3 goals in from a good Iceland team. That was a good test for us. Raul, let's talk about the starting 11 for you. A lot of people were questioning this Layun move kind of in the center, playing that interior role that we saw, the Pep's interior. And also Jesus Gallardo kind of crossing in, almost the Guardado role, wasn't defending us much. Osorio being smart, saying we're not going to get a ton. But on those counters, we saw Iceland, again, if it was Germany, I watched that Germany-Spain game, they would have scored 7 goals against us in that if we were defending at that. And maybe that's what's the smart thing about Osorio. He's going to switch up the teams between teams, and he knew they weren't going to need that much defensive. So tell me about this starting 11. Did it surprise you? Jesus Gallardo, for example, and then ultimately we didn't see that many of the Euros.
I mean, going into this game, I think we all kind of looked at it as two starting lineups. The one against Croatia, I think we all assumed was going to be our quote-unquote A team. Mm-hmm. And then that kind of went, up the wayside now that Croatia is sending half their team back to Europe. So I kind of viewed this game as a mixture of maybe half and half, half solidified starters and maybe like half fringe guys who Osorio wants to get one more look in before he decides who the final roster spots are. And so it didn't surprise me too much. Layun, I love Layun, but like when he's in the middle, he kind of tends to struggle. I saw a lot of side-to-side passing, none of the over-the-top balls. Maybe it's because Gallardo's a different player than maybe, let's say, Chucky on the wings, but it was just frustrating to watch the ball go back and forth, side to side with Layun in the middle. It's just one of those things where you wish you had Hector Herrera in there, but I mean, he was knocked up, so that kind of prevented that from happening.
Let's see, Adriana. I think, was she able to join in? Adriana, were you able to join in? Yeah, something is up with the mic because we cannot hear you. What? Oh no! All right, she said, "Hold on." All right, we'll continue. We won't give up. Starting 11 for you.
I think I gotta keep in mind what the starting 11 even like how it was really kind of formed. I mean, I think that we're just talking about specifically the formation because going into this, I thought, okay, maybe it'd be a 4-3-3 when I saw that the 11 was out, but it was almost more like some people were saying 3-3-1-3, 3-4-3. So I do think that made things a little difficult for Layun because Layun was almost like he was in line with Guardado. Yep. And Rey is a little bit higher up. So not truly a defender, not truly a midfielder, just in that second line of 3 up there. So and then Gallardo was way up on that left wing too. Fabian given the role as a center attacking midfielder. So I think that's something we got to talk about too. It was a little experimental from Osorio. I'm not going to say it was hugely experimental. It works. I mean, I guess that's a big theme from Osorio, isn't it? And people are going to criticize it. People are going to say like, "Oh, Mexico didn't look that good during the first half."
It was like bend, not break. We bend, we didn't break.
Yeah, but I think that's just been the theme so far. At least with so many games of Osorio, just people criticize him, criticize the win, but he still gets the win. He finds a way.
Well, and I think that's where it comes down to. And honestly, I mean, I've been asked many times, so how do you think we're going to be in the World Cup? And this is a first coach that if it was Piojo, I'm like, all right, we can win. We're not going to lose 7-0. But with Osorio, it's if he tries experiments and they work, and they're like, all right, you see where he's going for, right? You see that what he's trying to do. Tom does a very good job of explaining he's doing these moves because of this. He had the tallest players because of this. You saw I just forgot his name. Guy from Benfica.
Raul Jimenez.
Raul Jimenez. Yeah, you saw Raul Jimenez defend right? In all the corner kicks. In fact, at one point, he was the one that headed a corner kick, and then he had to run back to the front. It's one of the reasons why I think he also didn't get any touches, in the first half.
Had no touches the first half. That was like one of the things I was struggling with. Like, he didn't get. I felt bad for him because, I mean, he didn't get the ball. He's a forward. I mean, he can only come so deep to get the ball. Yeah,
and he was coming, and I think there's his experiment not working for Raul, but you saw that he anticipated Iceland to only counter. You saw that the Layun playing that guardado role. You saw Jesus Gallardo try to play that interior, which does not fit him at all either. But I speaking to Fabian at the end of the game, I asked him, you shot 3-4 times. Was that a direct instruction from Osorio? He said, yeah. We said,
really?
He knows that I have a great shot, and anytime that I have the opportunity, I'm going to do that. And it looks like Layun got almost the same thing because he saw that a couple of times of shooting too. So it worked for him in the sense. At the same time, we could have seen Iceland score, right, 2-3 times.
We got to bring up Chuy Corona. I think that as much as people want to bring up like, oh, Layun, that like incredible golazo there. Oh, Carlos Vela, Chucky, because I do think Chucky and Vela deserve a lot of credit too. But for me, I mean, Chuy Corona was one of the best players on the field, and I think that that's a sign that it might not have been as exciting as a result. Once again, this is great for morale. This is perfect for the team. This is the exact kind of thing that you want to see for them heading to the World Cup. But I mean, you can't overlook the fact that Chuy Corona had such a fantastic night in net, and that's not exactly the best thing for the national team.
And it was. And let me say, Adriana, are we able to get you back on now?
Oh, I hope so.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Yay!
All right. Maybe not get you a video, but we at least got the sound in. You know what? Let's go to you. Let's get reactions from the Iceland Mexico match in Santa Clara. Oh no.
Wait, Santa Clara? Oh, okay. I thought we were gonna Tom was joining us or something.
Oh no. I meant you. Reactions from the game, Mexico Iceland.
But I thought it was a terrible game. I thought the 3-0 was not really what I was expecting, especially after the first half. I thought Iceland should have been at least 2 goals winning Mexico at the first half. Chuy Corona had some great saves there. But I really thought they were just I couldn't figure out what Miguel Layun was doing all the way like 20 minutes before the game ended. It was just the weirdest formation. I think they were kind of lost in the beginning. I'll give it to them on the defense. I think Osorio actually has had a really good defense streak right now. I think they haven't received a goal in probably the last 4 matches or so. So I think they're doing pretty well defensively wise. But I thought it was a terrible match. I thought they were kind of lost. I loved the subs, like our best players so far, but I really think that the players didn't know what was expected from them. I saw Jesus Gallardo coming over to Osorio and just getting no idea what was going on. Raul Jimenez, I didn't see get a clear shot, and Gatito had a couple opportunities, but he just lost the ball. So I didn't think it was Mexico's best game. I think the result was kind of I think Iceland should have gotten at least a couple of goals. Marco Fabian's shot, I was not entirely sure if it was actually going to be a free kick. And then we had Chuy Corona saves, as I told you. So I didn't think it was Edri's best game. Hopefully, thankfully it happened now, but I don't think it's going to change that much.
Man, and here comes Adriana to just spoil our parades.
No, but she hasn't.
It was a horrible game. No, you have a point on that. You do. I would say that it's a 3-0 as a win, regardless of what happened on the field. I don't think you get lucky with 3-0, but you do get. I mean, outside of Iceland's 27-minute, or 27 minutes of maybe some type of domination, and I think the goals have come in. In the second half, I don't think Iceland had any more of a drive to even score.
No, I do think, like Adriana said, I think those subs though. I think if there is some kind of solace for Mexico fans, it's knowing that when Osorio brought on the guys who are more than likely going to be stars for him, when he brought in Vela, when he brought on Lozano, that Mexico did look much better. At the very least, they just looked a lot more direct. I think Lozano added a much more direct play for Mexico needed, just because there was. I mean, Raul brought that up earlier. I mean, there was just so many conservative and horizontal passes throughout the match. And then once Lozano stepped in, I mean, that's when he really started to take risks. That's when he really started to frustrate Iceland's back line. So I do think that, yeah, I wasn't, like I said, I think it is worrying that Chuy Corona and was one of the best players for Mexico that night. But once the starters stepped in, once you had Vela and Lozano on the pitch, that's when Mexico looked like the much better side, and that's when they're able to get a couple of goals. So I do think that, yeah, you could worry a little bit, but once the stars were on the field, it was just a much better game for Mexico.
Yeah. And, you know, I think, yeah, that 3-0 may not be the score that we should have, but I don't know. I mean, we've been on the other side of it, right? And that's what we kind of started the match with. So, really quick, let's get a poll from that third goal of Layun. How many actually believe that he shot the ball, or was it a pass?
I think he shot it.
Oh!
Really?
He looked up right before he shot it, and then I figured, I mean, why not? He's done it before. He's done it, but he's tried.
At first, watching from the stands all the way up, 10,000 feet above, I looked, and it looked like it was just a shot. But then I watched it on TV again. He was very surprised, and he was like laughing when he scored. So when I don't know if you played before, and it was like it's something you weren't allowed to do. It's kind of like a half court shot, right? Or something that you do. You're like, oh wow, that actually went in. His reaction afterwards, he was laughing. He's like, oh, what if that went in?
What if both goals were just terrible crosses?
No, I think the first one. No, I think the first one for sure. He was placing it in there.
No, I'm just
his second one might not. So Adriana, you feel that it was a shot or it was a goal? I mean, it was a shot or a pass.
I thought it was a pass. Yeah, I thought it was a pass. He was clearly surprised by that. He was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I did that shot." And he was just like laughing, like, "Oh my god, I did that." And actually, Chicharito posted a Twitter video on Twitter shortly after, and he was like, "Oh, this is El Tri's new goal scorer," and just congratulating him and just like mocking him.
At the hotel room, right? At the hotel room.
Yeah, he's clearly mocking him. I mean, I'm sure they all know. They were like, "You got so lucky on that pass."
Yeah, no, it's good. Let's talk about the third goal. Obviously, we saw the second goal. That was a brilliant run by Chucky. Almost 60% of that goal. Watching the replay again, the way he takes it, he turns around, and there's 3 players from Iceland tracking Chucky down, passes it to the right, and then Layun's right foot in the corner to the right of the keeper. I thought it was a great play. It's one of those. I felt like I've seen that done to Mexico often, with the defense kind of all over the place, because I stepped into, I'm like, okay, what if that's another team and Mexico was Iceland at that moment? That happened to us against Belgium in November in that same kind of sense. And Chucky, still surprised, I'm still surprised by this kid and his control. Now it's been 2 games. Our last game, I watched again the Mexico-Belgium match. I had a lot of time in the last 2 days. And I've seen this Chucky kid, and he's a real deal so far.
I'm glad he's doing it as well, because that kind of movement, that kind of risk taking is the kind of stuff that you would kind of anticipated from someone like Tecatito for a bit. And Tecatito he's quieted it down a little bit. And I think the last match I was pretty disappointed with him, regardless of the formation. I mean, he just lost the ball. He didn't really do much with possession. So I am glad that Chucky is doing these kinds of things, because if Chucky wouldn't be doing it, then I don't know what, I mean, I guess you could say maybe Vela could be that risk taker going forward from Mexico. But I mean, I do think that I'm glad that Chucky's doing that, because once again, I mean, Tecatito hasn't exactly been in the best form for either club or country. Maybe I should say the best form, but just he isn't as exciting as he used to be. He doesn't have he doesn't providing those like really exciting moments that he once had, at least for Mexico from like a couple years ago.
True. As far as Chucky, Raul, I mean, is he definite starting already in the start 11 versus Germany?
If he's not starting every game, I will hashtag Fire Osorio. I mean,
wait, you haven't done that already?
No, I'm one of the few. But like Cesar was saying, if Chucky wasn't there on Friday, what would we be talking about right now?
The Fabian goal.
Right?
Fabian goal. That's it.
I think it's actually we should actually be worrying. I mean, I'm thrilled for Chucky. I think he's like a hell of a player, and I actually don't think he'll be at PSV too long. But I think it's actually something that Osorio should look into. I don't think he has other attackers that are really in a good position right now. I mean, he put Jesus Gallardo as like to the left of Raúl Jiménez, which I have no idea what that was about, but it's Osorio, so we'll just go with it. But you see Oribe Peralta, who hasn't scored in a couple games in the Liga MX. You see Carlos Vela, who we hope will have a really good game this weekend at the LAFC Classic against Galaxy. And then that's probably it. I mean, Tecatito is kind of like in the
Raul has been scoring.
Right, yeah, but he's not consistent though.
He's not
consistent after the 70th minute. I think the guy's got most goals after the 70th minute than any player in Europe.
He's a consistent
he's a star sub. Yeah, he's a great sub.
Why? He's a new super sub, man. People used to call Chicharito the super sub. Now it's Raul Jimenez, which is fine. Like, I guess that's okay, but it's just I don't know.
I'm just antagonizing. Go ahead, Andy. I get it. So there's nobody but Chucky right now.
I wouldn't think so. Not in the streak that you would say, hey, we're really confident in this guy. I would think Oribe would have been in a better position by now, but somehow he's not. Henry Martin kind of like stole his thunder at the beginning of the season or something. So yeah, I'm kind of worried about that position. You don't really have a clear goal scorer right now, except for Chucky, who doesn't exactly play like in the 9 position, just like waiting for someone to give him the ball.
And I think that's the new evolution of the players Juan Carlos Osorio chooses. None of these guys outside of Raul Jimenez, well, the 3 forwards, right? You're starting to see a lot of people score, like the Tecatito when he was on his good run. And on the other side, Chucky Corona, Vela. I mean, if we're throwing Giovanni, but he hasn't done anything. You know, you don't have those goal scorers that we saw in when the 3 forwards that are going to go, and I think Osorio pretty much said, "Yeah, I'm taking these 3 guys." I share your concern there with struggling from forwards that are there.
I think I still have faith with Chicharito, Vela, and Lozano kind of all working together. I think for me, once again, the big worry is just Tecatito. But in my mind, if Tecatito continues to have an off performance, because I would still give him the starting spot, but if he doesn't do well, then
you can tell
Put Vela on the right wing, then bring Marco Fabian as a center attacking midfielder.
Anyone know why do you have his cast? I totally missed that. Or he hit something in his hand, right? In his wrist? Yeah. That wasn't really reported out there. I really wanted Tecatito to just have a game like, Venezuela, golazo. If you could substitute Layun and put in Tecatito, because we know Layun's going to be there. We see the talent Layun has, and he goes back and forth. But if Tecatito did what Layun did, it made me feel a lot better. I really wanted to see him score. I wanted to see him play. Dude, there's that play where he had up, it was just him, and he hit the ball a little too hard, and the Iceland player just 10 feet behind passed him, and then got the ball in front of him, and he just kind of was winded and was almost upset. He tried to do a couple of bicicletas here and there and just didn't work out. Frustrated at times, and you could just see the lack of playing time, right? Just is affecting him. That's a player that I'm really worried about. I want to see him do well, and I think we're going to need him for El Tri. Aside from the forwards, Marco Fabian. Let's talk about him. He did shoot 2-3 times before that free kick, and then in that free kick, I mean, it was definitely well orchestrated, planned. You saw, I think Reyes was in the barrera, and the ball was coming to him, and he knew exactly to kind of duck. For me, I don't know. I saw it as something that they've been practicing, and it was a beautiful goal. What do you guys think? At least of Fabian's goal, and then his performance throughout the game.
Well, for me, I think that I was a little worried at first for him getting the call-up because, I mean, he has been too long since he's recovered from his back injury. It's pretty serious injury for him. He's only been stepping onto the field for Frankfurt as a substitute in the second half. This isn't a guy who's been getting starts. So when he got that call-up, I was wondering if that was a little premature. If maybe the best idea for Fabian was just let him stay in Germany, just give him a call, let him know that, yeah, you're basically almost have a spot set in the World Cup, but we're giving you a break because, you're still recovering from the injury. You still have yet to be at 100%. And then once he was in that starting 11, I worried once again, but he looked good. And I think that I still don't know if he is worthy of being in the starting 11 for Mexico, but at the very, very, very least, he's got to be one of the number 1, number 2 options off the bench, perhaps even number 1 option off the bench if you're looking for something in the attack. So I don't know if he's yet to solidify a starting spot for me, but at the very least, he's shown that he's capable of stepping up for Mexico. And I do hope that this continues. I do hope that he continues to get healthy because I'm worried about the guy. I'm still unsure if they really should have brought him all the way back from Germany when he hasn't even had a start for Frankfurt in 2018.
Well, good that you mentioned that, Cesar. I had a chance to speak to him after the game. And I asked him, if the direction that he got, and I'll actually post a video. I was supposed to post today, but I totally forgot. But I got a video of him saying, I asked him strictly, last year during the Confederations Cup, when Cesar, you and I talked to him in September, he said that he was around 70%, 80% during that summer. That his back was already hurting him. He knew after the season, after that summer, he was going to have surgery. Obviously, he kept it quiet. And then, the announcement was about the surgery. I asked him where he was at, expecting to say, well, I'm at 80, I'm at 90. And ultimately, he said, I'm at 100%. And I said it once. He said it 3 times. He's like, I'm 100% healthy. I am ready to go. This is why I started. I feel fine. I'm in the best shape. And I don't want to say I believe him. I mean, you just came back and you're in your best shape, but at the same time, for him to say he's 100% is really good. And we saw, I don't think I saw a Marco Fabian that was, off tempo or a different type of Marco Fabian. But the good thing is that he said he's fully fit to go. So that was good. Adriana, to you, Marco Fabian, Cesar is a super sub. He continues to score. He continues to play well. We don't have that creator, I would say, the number 10 as much. Is he fighting against Pizarro, or do you see him, in the starting 11?
Yeah, I share you guys' concerns regarding how healthy he could be and how risky it was for him to actually be in the starting lineup. I hope he's 100% healthy coming up to the final list in June. However, I really liked how he played. I think he was probably the best player on the starting lineup, except afterwards when Chucky came in. And I really like the fact that we have someone that was in that playmaker position, because we don't see that too often anymore. I think we haven't seen someone clearly like that since like Siña or Cuauhtemoc or somebody like that. So it's really rare for us to have a player in that number 10 position. I thought he did really well. He really surprised me, just seeing him in the top shape, seeing after that really, really long injury, and not seeing him play as much with his club. So I wouldn't risk him probably in a starting lineup. I'm glad he did though this time. But yeah, I think I would consider him more like a sub probably.
Yeah. You see, obviously, if Herrera wasn't there, and you see Jonathan Dos Santos not there, you see why he got the start into what he wanted to do. Raul, what else about this? Let's talk about the goalkeepers. Chuy Corona having a great game. I'm starting to sense that we're going to see the rotation of the goalkeepers throughout the World Cup.
If he plays a goalkeeper every single
he will. Let's just get used to it.
Like, this is ridiculous. He should stick to Ochoa. He should. I don't even care if he sticks to Corona. Just stick to one keeper. Like, this is. How many times do we see like the back line just look like they're not communicating? They need the reps.
Yeah, I
don't know. It's tough to really jump into Osorio's mind, but for somewhat blind faith that I have, I just assume that he won't be doing the same kind of goalkeeper changes that he made.
He did it in the Confederations Cup, right?
That's a lot of faith.
Yeah, it is a lot of faith. Maybe it's less about Osorio, just me hoping that he doesn't do this. I feel like it's just I could see some of the rotations he does everywhere else on the field, some of the formations that he chooses, his tactics. I know a lot of people question them. They make a lot of sense to me. The goalkeeper situation, I mean, you can't really defend it, and if you do defend it, I think it's really tough to defend it. And I'm just hoping, and I'm just assuming that he won't do it. But I mean, like I said, it's all blind faith.
I think he's gonna do it.
I'm thinking forward like 2 months from now or 3 months from now, and like the headlines in the World Cup, everyone else going like, "Oh my God, Mexico is actually using their 3 goalkeepers." Yeah, I can just see that coming.
I think. Oh my! I think what was it that Mexico is the only team that everybody played in last Confederations Cup? I remember seeing like a stat like that. Like really? every player played in the Confederations Cup.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
It was like the only team that's ever happened, except for like some. I think it was Holland, like in the 70s or 80s or something, in an official FIFA competition.
It's coming.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm already. It's one that's like, get ready. Here it comes. So get ready for that.
I do think that, I feel bad for Corona, though, because I do think that Ochoa is still the number one option. So I think that Ochoa, I mean, he's worthy of that role, regardless of the fact that he's just hanging out in Belgium, with with Gouveia out there. But I still think that Ochoa is I think he's had a lot of time working with a lot of these defenders too from the national team. He's had some history with them. Obviously, he isn't nearly as experienced as Talavera or Chuy Corona. I mean, but I do feel a little bad for Corona because I do think that Ochoa is number one.
I mean, how many times
for Talavera? I would love to see Talavera in the starting position. I think he was a great goalkeeper. I'm just worried about how much the injury cost him in time. Because I really think he's a good goalkeeper. He's just been really unlucky because he had Ochoa in front of him and then Corona. I would be leaning more towards Ochoa fighting Talavera for the position. I don't see Corona as like a regular goalkeeper.
I feel
right
like
now, but that's probably Cruz Azul's fault.
Goalkeepers always get like, I felt bad for him. Like we were saying that Ochoa in 2010. I mean, Ochoa, where he was at,
Yeah, but Ochoa started every game up until the World Cup.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like it's always, and then he wasn't, and then Osvaldo Sanchez in 2006 and 2000. Like, I feel you always feel bad for that goalkeeper, and then he gets his chance. And I want Ochoa. I think he's the best goalkeeper, especially against a German team where we need those reflexes like crazy. I wouldn't be crazy upset if Corona was there in goal. I've seen Corona. We've seen what Corona can bring. Really good playing with his feet, and then maybe Talavera, who is probably the best out of the two in the air. You've seen Ochoa do those swaps from those corners. He's still out of 10 years I've been playing. You still get a little bit nervous in the air for Ochoa, where we're gonna see a ton of that. So I'm calling it right now. It's probably going to be like Talavera against Germany, and just because of Osorio's obsession with height. I mean, Raúl Jiménez coming back to the penalty to defend, and then running all the way back, and not having my boys from León be there because they're short. Like I feel that's something that Osorio just like.
Who do you guys think is the best shot stopper of the three?
I think that's Ochoa. I think I would choose Ochoa.
He should play.
Yeah, probably Ochoa.
Because how many times do we talk about other teams being well organized, and we never call Mexico well organized? Maybe because maybe
we're well organized against Guatemala.
I mean,
well, but who isn't?
Burn.
No disrespect to Guatemala, though.
No, but I mean, we're always well organized against teams that were better. I mean, that's when we go, right? I mean,
how do you get well organized? You get a lot of reps together, which never happens with Mexico because it's constant player rotation.
And even if you had one solid goalkeeper, you're not gonna have one solid defense. You have both things have to be really consistent, and they're not. Yeah. I mean, you could have Néstor Araujo, maybe Hugo Ayala comes in at the last minute, and sometimes you have Héctor Moreno, and then sometimes he's a central mid defense, and sometimes he's on the side, and you have Salcedo, Edson Alvarez. It's a mess.
Well, yeah, no, and it could be because they were playing together. I saw, I think on the almost goal. Which one was it? Was it the offsides? One of the goals where it just, I think Salcedo didn't follow his man or his mark, and Iceland almost scored if it wasn't for Chuy. I feel like we're still having this disconnect in the defense. Could be because of rotaciones, as many people just kind of fault in that. Let's talk about the subs. We kind of already mentioned it. Bella, Chucky. We saw Gouveia. I'm sorry. What is that kid doing there? I know he plays over there.
I think he's all right. I think here's the thing. He's not going to start in the World Cup. He
shouldn't go to the World Cup.
I think that you have to give credit to him for. I think a lot of players who have as little experience as he does with the national team, they would struggle a lot more to work with the roster. And I think that if you got to give him the benefit of the doubt, it's the fact that he does actually work decently with the roster. But I think I'd be more bothered with this if he was going to be a key player for the national team. He's not going to be a key player. There's no guarantee he's even going to go to the World Cup.
We can keep some, but he's take somebody's spot. Gouveia shouldn't be going to the World Cup. I don't see anything that he has over anybody else. You can see what Pizarro can do a little bit more. You can see Fabian. You can even see Giovanni. right?
But the thing, he's taken the spot. He's taken the spot for a backup who probably might not even get any minutes.
Oh no, they'll get minutes. Oh no, they will get minutes. This is where you might. If it was look, I'll level with you. If this was another coach where bring in the experience, the Chiquis in 2005, Chiquis Rodriguez, bring in his son-in-law, the Bofo in 2010, even though you did use
there are
him.
28 players called up. There's 28, so there's no guarantee he's gonna be in the final 23. There's no guarantee that Jesus Molina is gonna be there. I'm saying there's no. Yeah.
I'm saying if he does, I feel like if he brings him, this kid's gonna play in the World Cup.
I don't think so. I don't think he'd get very many minutes.
But
he'll get some.
I understood why he brought him up in November, which was when the friendlies in Europe. He's right there. He's only like 90 minutes away. Come check out our training. We need ball boys. I get it. But he flew him back all the way to Santa Clara. Raul, am I crazy? Does this kid really need to be on the team and getting minutes?
I mean, who do you want? Another retread to make the team? I mean, Cesar, I see your point, because if he's on the flight, you think he's gonna play. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, you need to look at those players 24, 25, 26, because injuries happen. I mean, Chapo Montes broke his leg. I mean, you gotta have a couple extra guys ready, or at least familiar with the system. The worst comes to worst, you bring him up. If not, hey, at least he knows in case something happens, injury happens.
But bring somebody that could be part of the system. I feel like he, or I don't know. Maybe he sees something in different. Maybe he tries really, really hard at Rudy type of hard in the practices, and he's like, you know what? I like this kid. He's giving it all. I'm gonna bring him in. It's a great story. Adriana, tell me, tell me.
I don't see him in the World Cup. I just think, oh my God, they're just giving him a chance right now. But Osorio mentioned a couple days ago that he was really optimistic regarding the next generation of soccer players. And that's where Jonathan Gonzalez, Omar Gobea, Rodolfo Pizarro came in. So he's already thinking about renewing his contract, which we're all freaking out about, because we thought that it was just going to end after the World Cup. So apparently it might not. But then that might make us, if you want to give him a little insight into the next couple of generations that are coming in with the Mexican national team. I don't think he should be at the World Cup. I'm pretty sure there has to be someone that's more experienced than him. I don't think he's a bad player, but I don't think he's World Cup material just about now. I just think it was just about giving the guy a shot, seeing what's coming up with other generations, just like Jonathan Gonzalez, who might not make the final 23 roster. And I don't really think he should be at the World Cup either.
Okay, crazy.
I don't think he'll be going to the World Cup. I just think, once again, it's 28 players who are called up, so he's a part of that 28. And I do think that, I guess if I want to contradict myself,
Jonah was hurt. So.
And Jonah was I think if I want to contradict myself here, I think a lot of people could say that, okay, then why didn't Eric Gutierrez get the call?
Yeah.
Eric Gutierrez has been all right.
Elias Hernandez. No, Elias Hernandez is hurt.
But I think once again, But I think once again, it's someone like Eric Gutierrez. If it were up to me, I would have Eric Gutierrez over Gobea. But once again, we're talking about players who, if they do make it to the World Cup, they're going to be that number 22, 23 on the roster. This isn't going to be some starting option here.
Chapito Montes, man. I really want him to go.
His nickname is Chapito. Come on. He's not going to get called up. He's too small.
No, I know.
Well, actually, seeing as tomorrow's game is in the Cowboys Stadium, that's where Chapito Montes got hurt before the World Cup last year. So,
man, I remember that was brutal.
I was at that game.
Beware.
That was super awkward. They had some band playing during halftime, and it was oh man, not now, guys. This is it's a little weird. It's a little weird.
All right, the other subs, Carlos Vela.
He's good.
No surprises there. In a direction he has, I think Carlos Vela is going to be very important, very, very important for Osorio.
Yeah, can you guys see him playing as a number 10? I can.
I think. I wrote about. I think he can either be a winger or he could be a number 10, and I would be okay for him playing in either of those roles. I think what he's doing with LAFC, and I know I wrote that in my piece. I know there's a big difference between what he could do with L3 and what he was doing at LAFC. but I think he's capable of taking charge of that number 10 spot. So I would be happy if there is like a 4-2-3-1, or if it is a 3-4-3 and you're looking for that center attacking midfielder, I think it's between him and Fabian. And I'd be happy with either of those guys as the number 10. But if not, I think Vela still has a lot to give on the wings as well. So, I mean, to me, Vela, he needed to prove that he's still worthy of being a starter. And he still has a lot to prove in Major League Soccer, but he's off to a great start. Yeah,
I think the talent that he has, you can definitely see it on the field. And playing, and he's had a I would say not an amazing start, but a great start with LAFC, just like Adriana said, coming in the Clásico, see how he does. But ultimately, it was a different type of team when he had the ball. A player that isn't afraid to take 2-3 players on, and we've seen that he has the speed to do so. I actually see him almost starting too in the World Cup. I think Vela is going to be very, very important coming up.
Quick question for you guys. Do you think, I mean, I still think he is, and I know other people have said, do you think on raw talent, he's still the most talented Mexican player?
Question.
No, yeah. I think so.
Yeah, he could be, yeah.
I feel like Tecatito, man. He just... Yeah, he shoots.
Well, Tecatito had those family issues a couple of times with the national team. I think he even missed a call-up recently. So maybe something just got like distorted over there, but hopefully he'll be back in like the rhythm we hope he'll get.
That's it, yeah.
But yeah, probably Vela's a little more talented than Tecatito.
Yeah, we've seen that. We definitely have seen that.
Yeah. I mean, do you guys remember a couple last summer or maybe the year before where we were always saying Tecatito's so talented, but he's just so out of control, and now he's like in too much control. You see that?
His talent isn't there anymore.
No, like he's just bottled it up. He's like trying to like not take out 5 guys like he used to, you know?
Yeah, but Adrian does make a good point though. I mean, obviously he's had some hardships family wise, so like I mean that messes with you. That really messes with you. And like I still think that he's Mexico's wild card though. I think that, I mean, at his best, I mean he does what, let's just say he does what Chucky did the other night, and I think that if he is healthy. And if Chucky can continue to be playing at his best, I mean, that could be a really thrilling attack we have going forward. Because I still trust the guy, so I still would put him on one wing, and I put Chucky in the other wing, have Vela as a center, one of the center attacking midfielders, and just Chicharito up front and see what happens there.
All right, you ready for this question?
Go ahead.
You have one more spot. There's 2 players. That's it. You narrowed it down to 2 players. You have to pick between Jürgen Damm and Omar Gobea. Who would you pick?
Gobea.
Okay. That was not a real question. Continuing. I just wrote that in my notes. I was like, I was gonna go Jürgen Damm. Why is in there? All right. So overall, Adriana didn't like this win. Everyone was kind of like, it was good. It wasn't whatever. I thought it was good morale. I gotta tell you guys, I've obviously been to a lot of Mexico games, and I've been to a lot of what you guys call moleros and the Mole Tour and all that. And outside of the stadium, man, it felt like a very, very important match. Like it was 68,000 or 67,000 people, and we've seen games in LA, we've seen games, the San Antonio, but people were going crazy. I don't know, because the World Cup hype is coming, but I saw a little bit more. Like, Cesar, you've been to those games where you're like, it's another one of these type of games, and doesn't even feel like a Mexico game. No, it was definitely, and the fans were going crazy. A 3-0 coming out of it. A lot of people had a lot of fun. So I think finally that World Cup hype is coming, and then here we have the game in LA, game in Mexico. I don't know if you guys are attending the Denmark game, and then Russia's here. So overall, last thoughts on the Iceland match. Did Iceland? Did they? I thought they disappointed me a little bit, which I really didn't want them to. I wanted us to be like hard fought.
My only worry is that I think that Iceland sat back. I think they sat back in a way that if Mexico wants to have success in the World Cup, they're not going to be facing opponents that are going to be playing like this against them. And then when you consider that Croatia is missing 6 key figures, I'm worried that this isn't the international break that Mexico really needed ahead of the World Cup. So I mean, obviously you can only do you can only like, I mean, they already have these friendlies set. There's nothing else that the team can really do. I mean, getting the win was you can't really ask for more. But I'm just worried that this isn't exactly the most ideal preparation for today, because that Iceland match, I mean, we talked about it. It felt like a CONCACAF match, the way that they sat back. And the Croatia match, it's not going to be the best Croatian side. Yeah, they still have some strong players in that roster, but it's not going to be against the best options they have available. So I'm still just a little worried about Mexico that this isn't, once again, the most ideal preparation for them going into the summer.
Okay. All right, Raul, last thoughts on Iceland?
I mean, I was watching the game on FS1, and the announcers were saying it kind of felt like a World Cup game in the first half, just with like the intensity and everything.
It was intense.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, Stefan's point, and we've joked about it. I felt like a CONCACAF game, but I mean, how far did Costa Rica get last World Cup? You know,
True.
I mean,
It's
just another game. You know,
I have some friends, really close people that are Costa Rican, and they keep coming back. And they just said outside of Argentina and Brazil, Costa Rica's made the most a 5th place in the World Cup. No one's ever done that outside of the Uruguay, of course, but no one remembers those years. It's true. It's true. And you know what? You goes back. I was kind of disappointed that I wanted Iceland to do that for the 90 minutes, but there's no team that does that for 90 minutes. I mean, crazy these Vikings if they would have laughed at 90 minutes. But that first half, I felt there was that intensity, and these guys were going full out. There were times when I'm like, dude, calm down. It's only a friendly. Don't injure us.
Did anyone else feel a little queasy when they kept hacking at Lozano, and Lozano kept reacting?
Yeah.
Just kept saying you need to calm down, because this is going to be for the next your career. People are going to hack you. And I know he has a couple red cards, and maybe both of them weren't legitimate, whatever, in Holland, but he does have a temper. I mean,
well, you seen that Chucky gif? Like he's, you thought that they called him Chucky because he thought he looked like Chucky. No, I think it's his temper, because I've seen that a couple of times.
Yeah,
he comes down and he gets really mad. I think I saw that. Or was it in Vancouver in the Whitecap Stadium when he scored before the match? He got angry when one of the Canadian players held his shirt. He was mad.
Yeah.
So interesting to see. All right, Adriana, Iceland. It was a terrible match. You're gonna stick with it.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with it. Probably the first 30 minutes or so were pretty intense. They were a lot more exciting than the rest of the game. I just think the result was really deceitful. I don't really think Mexico was deserved a 3-0, especially while I'm seeing them probably the first 20 minutes or so. But still, a win is a win, so everyone's happy. But yeah, regarding what you guys were saying about these probably not being the best games for Mexico prior to the World Cup. Well, the Croatian coach was just saying that he says, well, I have to test out other players as well, and Osorio is going to do the same thing. So I don't understand why he gets so mad. But probably, it would have been great to have the Mexican national team think about going outside of the United States, which would have been the best preparation ever, not to have that support. That they always have that. And I think it's something that really doesn't help the Mexican national team all the time. They have to get used to having these adverse scenarios sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a discussion that we have said back and forth regarding the plans and how Mexico schedules games. Let's talk about Croatia. We got a few minutes to talk about. Mr. Tom Marshall will be there. He's already telling us. So what can you tell us? None of the Usic, the important Usics are not going to be there. Just like the Suns, the Usic is over here. So tell us, Cesar.
Yeah.
Actually, Osorio, Adriana mentioned it a little bit. Osorio was a little bit upset at the fact that he sent 6 players back, his best players, people were saying. But what can we expect from Croatia on this match? What Raul said, it was supposed to be the best team we were facing.
Yeah, no, I mean, you look at the list of players that are gone. So it's Modric, Mandzukic, Perisic, Brozovic, Suvasic, Kalinic. Obviously, Modric, Mandzukic, and Suvasic are some of the key players that stand out there. They're obviously figures that you would have wished that Mexico could have gone against. But that said, that is still a strong roster. I do think that this isn't.
We lost against their B team, C team, last year, didn't we?
We lost. I think that was the E team. I didn't recognize a single guy on that team on that team in that game. But no, I mean, you look at. They still have Rakitic on the team. They still have Kovacic, and you still look at the rest of the roster. They still have guys in the Bundesliga, La Liga, Italy. So this isn't. It doesn't necessarily mean this is already going to be an easy match because some of the key figures are gone. No, Croatia's still a very, very good side. Obviously, like I said earlier, it would have been ideal if they would have had their best players there, but that's not going to be the case. But yeah, I still think that it's going to be, regardless of the fact that some of the key players are missing, it's still going to be a tricky match for them. But of course, I mean, Mexico is going to be the heavy favorites when it comes to attendance over there. I don't think we'll be seeing too many Croatian fans taking over for L3 fans out there in Texas.
Who knows? You may be wrong. Croatia likes to travel. I saw him in LA.
Actually, I guess in LA we did see. Yeah. I think we were at that game. It was like I want to say it was like at least like 1,000. They were like all together. It was pretty impressive, actually.
Yeah, there was like tours and stuff from all over the place. Now we were talking to a Croatian fan, and they were saying that they have these tours now that people fly out from all over the place. I think there was also a Croatian festival there, so good planning on their part. All right, Adriana, what do we expect? What do you want Mexico to do in this match so it make you happy and it's not terrible?
I want them to play well, and I want them to play in a style that we can actually identify with, something where we can see the players in their best positions possible. I don't want to see Jesus Gallardo as a left winger doing something he's never done in Pumas. I'd like to see them really show their best level in the position that they know the most, which I know is not going to happen, but that's what I would like to happen. So I would like to see players just living up to the expectation we have of them. But probably we're going to see lots of rotations as well, because Osorio just said he's going to give opportunities to some of the younger players. But still, probably
what are the younger players opportunities that are there? I thought Govea got some.
Yeah, but probably Jonathan Gonzalez might get a few minutes.
Pizarro
I'd like
probably
to see Pizarro would probably get a shot.
Got minutes.
No, but more minutes.
Yeah, but
perhaps
probably
even
starting role. Yeah, exactly.
Chicharito gonna play? You brought him out, right?
Yeah, you brought him out for something, I hope.
Okay.
So yeah, I would just like to see these guys tighten up the competition and just see Osorio really have a tough time seeing who's going to be on the final 23 squad, because that would mean that we have several players in a good level.
Okay. All right. Raul, tell me, Croatia, what will make you happy, especially against this team? What do you want to see?
This is now a Moleto game, as far as I'm concerned. Because there's no winning. If Mexico plays and does well, it's their B team. If Mexico struggles, it's like, what are you guys doing? It's their B team. You should win 3-0. You know, it's like one of those games where, like Adriana said, I want to see Mexico play well, go out, play players in their positions, get them used to, get them these mental reps, physical reps. I mean, like, it gets to the point where you want to see players do what they're going to do in a real game. It's like when you're in practice and you're on like a basketball team and you do something stupid and your coach says, you're not going to do that in the game. Why are you doing it in practice? It's like, you want to do those reps. I don't know.
I just thoughts of Chicharito and goalkeeper in practice all the time.
It's gonna be a 2-1-5-1-1 formation. Mexico's gonna play terribly for 80 minutes, and then we're gonna score 4 goals at the very end, and then we're all gonna be very confused.
All Govea.
All Govea.
By the way, it would if Chicharito scores, it would be his 50th goal and his 100th appearance with the national team. Whoa. If he gets some minutes. So that would be a pretty cool.
So they messed up, because last time the national team kept pumping up saying, "Oh, Chicharito's 100th cap," and me and Tom were messaging back and forth, and we were like, "No, this is only 99. What are they celebrating?" And then now they're bringing it back. It's like, "Oh, he's gonna get his 100th cap." I'm like, "You guys said this last time."
It's like the World Cup. It's like the World Cup countdown. Like every now and then you'll see like one account be like, it's 81 days, and someone else will be like, actually it's 79 days. You're like, wait, what's going on? And you gotta like do the math yourself.
We did that.
Confusing.
Yeah, it's like the time difference or something. That's
they'll post it like 6 o'clock.
When New Zealand says it's 81 days and it's 82 here, and we're like, so we got to be careful on those, because I think we did that too. We're like, hey, it's 100 days, and it was the day before, and then all right, we're gonna have that 2 days. That's cool. We were the first ones a day early. All right, guys. Well, lots of L3 chat. Let's give me a little bit of a prediction.
I say 2-0. Mexico wins in a really boring game.
I say it's going to be a close 1-1 match. I think that we're hopefully going to get some good performances from Chicharito, Lozano, and Vela. But I just think that, this Croatian side, even without some of their best players, I think they're not a team to be taken lightly. So I'll go with a 1-1.
All right, Adriana.
I was thinking about a 1-1 draw as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
1-1 draw. I'm writing these down. All right, guys. Putting these, making sure we'll throw them in there. I haven't even thought about it. I forgot. So I'll give my prediction. I got to look at it. I got to go my crystal ball. I got to do my Whistledamus dance and figure out what comes up to me, because this is going to be interesting. It all changes without the good
sacrifice a lamb of some sort.
Something like that. So really quick, make sure we're going to do 2 plugs. Number 1, it's Pancho Villa's Army. All the things that they do at all the games. If you're not part of it, make sure you're joining and following them all over the place and become a fan. Great stuff. Amazing atmosphere out there in San Francisco. And then another plug for our Patreon. Actually, 3 plugs. Our Patreon. Please continue to join us. An amazing CTR podcast. There's shirts for some of the members. So please be a part of it. Cesar and Tom do an amazing job with our countdown to Russia. There's going to be some guests here and there. I was a part of it. Amy and I were part of it last week. And we'll continue to have, there's going to be special interviews, and then get ready because we have a great outlook for the World Cup. Some of us will be there. So if you haven't joined our Patreon, definitely do so. And then lastly, there's a chance for you to win a signed Mexico jersey.
Can I win it?
Yeah, you can, Cesar. You definitely can. All you have to do, go to the pinned tweet on Footmex Nation, and it shows what you have to do. You have until Friday to do it. Do it now, and you can win a signed Mexico jersey. I'm hoping it's a white one, the brand new white one that's signed by the whole team. Not saying it is. Hopefully it is. That'd be great. So those are our 3 shameless plugs. Continue to support us. Thank you so much for Adriana for able to join us, and we're able to see you, but we got to hear you, which is always good. So thank you, Adriana, for joining us. Mr. Cesar, who was lonely at that Xolos Americas game. We saw that tweet. We're here live, and there was you're the first one there. So amazing stuff.
Me by myself, no one else, Karen. Everyone talk about it. Me and the other reporters, like, you didn't go to the Mexico game? No, I didn't go to the Mexico game either.
And then Raul with the colorful kit. Raul, what are you doing these days? Podcast writing? Tell us.
Posting some stuff over at FMF State of Mind, and then doing a couple podcasts here and there, and then also the Chivas del Norte guys are posting on my feed too, so check those guys out.
Nice. So lots of content in English. You can't say you're not informed. Thank you all for joining, and at the same time, thank you for all the great comments. Saying hi to everybody on the chat. It was a special one. We had a lot of people going in and out. And if you are not part of this chat, it gets a little crazy. Apologies for if you get offended, but they go on. I think it was okay. It wasn't as bad as usual.
Nothing too crazy. I saw some guy named Cesar Hernandez said, "I don't trust Cesar's beard," and I agree. Actually, wait, that was me.
All right, guys. Well, we'll give it to Adriana to close us off and say goodbye. And until next time on the next Mexican Soccer Show, Adriana, close us off.
Thank you guys for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you next time with a lot better news regarding El Tri. Keep up with the Patreon, follow us on Twitter, and hopefully we'll have a great game tomorrow.
All right. Adios.
Later.